boxing is always going to have some rich guy. That's the thing I'll tell you about boxing. There's always going to be a rich guy that's going to jump into boxing that wants to do his own thing. Um, they might have a couple of years of a lot of success. I wish them the best. Maybe they'll control the big fights for like a decade. But it comes down to how long is your interest in boxing, which is a big thing, right? Like longevity is hard, man. I'm having trouble 20 years into boxing staying focused. I'm falling off the wagon. So to run a company and to keep your focus at that high level, like I think it's exciting when they start because they're going to be super enthused and these cards are going to be awesome. They're going to be stacked and whatever. There obvious I think what's interesting is there's always going to be someone that's unhappy. So that's always going to be a fun thing to follow. And there's always going to be someone out there who has a lot of money who's going to run shows that doesn't want to answer to someone else. And that's kind of the what makes boxing kind of fun and maybe for the average fan doesn't make it approachable is it's kind of free market capitalism. It's chaos. So there's always going to be someone out there just doing something crazy. And that's why I love it. It's the best way I can explain boxing to an outsider, and I assume there's probably a lot of outsiders listening to this, is it's a lot of cartoon characters. It's like you're in a world where everyone's a cartoon character. I'm a cartoon character. My friends are cartoon. Everyone in boxing is like a deeply traumatized, absurd person. And that's what I love about it is it's a band of misfits. So though they might have success getting the biggest fights, there's always going to be a developmental circuit that's running. And I think that maybe that's there in MMA, but I don't think that it's as strong as in boxing. There's like a cultural, it's ingrained in people to watch these small shows as opposed to just being the big shows.
I think UFC's doing some of that because they got like Dana White's Contender Series, and they sign a lot of fighters from that. They got the LFA promotion, which is they have several promotions that are linked to them. LFA, CFFC, I think, is another one. They have a few, and kind of like farm league, so to speak. And then you have Dana White's Contender Series. So they have a number of shows where the promoters are also managers of a lot of these fighters. So once they get into the UFC, they're the manager also. So they're
Oh, that's
kind of
interesting
they kind
because
of do the
that's
bidding of the UFC, so to speak.
yeah, that's an interesting dynamic. I've never experienced that per se yet in boxing, but that's something I'll watch for. Um, I have trouble because boxing is like I always call boxing a hating a word sport. And